Hi everybody, welcome to this Expert Division specific general playthrough for the Retro Redux 18-hole cup here on the channel. Please hit thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. All of these replays are from old tournaments, so feature old ball attribute levels, but are all from Expert Division, so they are the correct wind ranges. You will of course have to tweak according to the wind angles you get in the event, and also to your club's balls and play style. Plenty of content up on the channel as well, so make sure you check that one out. Timestamps in the description down below. Good luck, here we go. It's a par 4 and I'm going to start with a power 4 ball and the quarterback. And find the max rest position with the white ring touching the rough, so power 4 max with the quarterback. Then we switch to the apocalypse, then you switch to your kingmaker. Important to get the sequence correct. In fact, I go for a pumpkin just because we've had Halloween recently. 5.8 top spin and no side spin. You'll see there the second bounce with spin added, but you'll all have the quarterback 9+, I would think, to find that position, so you don't need to worry about rings on the APOC. Max plus 10 is the adjustment, full overpower, slower needle if you've got APOC 5+. Slightly less slow if you've got APOC 4, but still a decent chance. Of course, if you want to make that needle even slower, put a power 4 or power 5 wind 3 ball on. Drive distance, 373. Second shot, this is a very tough shot to get consistent on. We've got a drop here, but it may not always be as consistent as you might like. Fringe check first, where the bullseye is directly over the beginning of the fringe. +3 in my case correlates to 80% on the slider with this elevation, 40% elevation. So 80% slider, 40% elevation. It's a no spin shot, ball guide as shown. Just as accurately as you can. It's a little bit tricky because you're adjusting on slope, and the crosswind makes this one a little bit tougher to drop when you've got pretty much level crosswind. But 80% slider, 40% elevation here goes in beautifully for an eagle. I'm going to play a bounce over on the left hand side with the sniper. I start with adding 4 backspin and 1 right spin, and then I reduce the backspin by 2 clicks. So call it 3.8 or 3.9, but basically you want 2 clicks less than 4 backspin, but you're keeping the right spin. Blue ring touching the rough at the top of +1. And then you don't need to worry about the ball guide because you've got a ring reference here. That will be at the top of +3 if you've got sniper 9. Adjustment mid +15, power 4 settings. Now it is going to be 2 ring pulls because of this wind strength. So just try and keep your camera angle the same. Try and maintain an accurate adjustment if you can. It will obviously increase your drop rate. Maybe subject to wind angle tweaks, of course, same as the qualifying round with these increased winds, bigger effects on the wind, but we dropped this very nicely there for a hole in one. So mid +15, power 4. We're going to have to go with the classic route here. I tried a couple of send-its, but didn't get consistent results anywhere near the green. So we're going to go with the rock instead, and it's going to be 4 top spin, 3 right spin. Setting up with the blue ring touching the rough at max with the rock level 8 will be the top of +15 if you've got the rock level 9. Then we're going to adjust max +0. If anything, I would favour 1159 here rather than 1201. You can see I've just got the angle, the wind angle flickering a little bit on the left hand side. So a favour of 1159 due to the tailwind with our max +0. Then we don't need any curl here. We're just going to hit perfect, and we're going to have a piece of paper and a pen ready to write down your drive distance because we're going to need it for the second shot. DD on the notepad, drive distance. And here it is 352 yards. Second shot, we're going to play the classic funnel shot, and the spin will vary depending where you are on the drive, but you're always going to need 3 left spin, or a large amount of left spin, should we say. And here I go with a bar and a half of top spin and move around, find the position here, get that funnel where the ball guide doesn't move around, but you can still move the target left and right. There you see it. The ball guide is just to the right of the pin. Showing you the spins there again. Now for 352-yard drive, we're going to play this one 30% on the slider, minus 10% elevation. So 30% on the slider, minus 10. Now you will see here, this one just gets snuck in on the right-hand side. Two possible things you can do to remedy that. You could add a little bit of right curl on the drive, kind of inner wall, to bring yourself a little bit more to the right, or we play with a couple of clicks of curl to the left on the approach. I will let you decide. Either way, I like the slider value here. It does fall nicely, but just sneaking it in on the right side. So in my opinion, we've got to go for it with a Wiseacre. I'm using the APOC 6 here. 6.9 topspin for this wind strength, setting up at top of plus 28 with the bullseye directly over the edge of the bunker. If you haven't got APOC 6, you can use Extra Mile level 9, set up at max power 5, again with the bullseye over the bunker, but bear in mind, of course, you need a perfect ball if you're using the Extra Mile due to lower accuracy. Max plus 10 power 5 settings, not pushing up in this wind strength. If you have lower wind, I would increase the top spin a little bit. Higher wind, reduce the top spin by a couple of clicks. You've got to judge for yourself. That's the issue with aggressive options. We're not pushing up though, because I want a slow needle, and I'm going with outer wall curl to the right. Important not to overdo the top spin. 440 yards is fine on the drive. If you've got APOC 5, you could take a token or two, pushing up a little bit to counteract not having all the topspin available. But like I said, you've got the Extra Mile 9 as an option. There's also, of course, a topspin boost, which could help you out with APOC level 5 if you wanted to stick with using that club. So bear in mind, tweaks will be needed. Successful drive, though, you're going to be left with a very makeable end bringer here, between 40 and 50% on the slider. No spin method, but always check your club distance yourself. Playing normal end bringer rule here, 20% power 5. If you don't know the method, check out my quick fire tutorial on that subject matter on the Academy tutorial home page. So very nice wind angle. To summarise, I would go aggressively really. Obviously there's different routes, so if you want to try something else you can do, but in my opinion this one a very, very nice go for the eagle, leaving you a simple wedge. I'm going to show you the bounce up approach. The rough bump is an option, but a great left is not safe, and for me it's not a great wind angle for the rough bump. So start with a basic ball and add 4 bars backspin, because we don't want to add any unwanted side. Then we switch to a Kingmaker or a Kingslayer, depending how you want to be accurate with the wind. If you want to keep it below 8, which would be advisable really, otherwise you may need more tweaks. So Kingmaker for me, blue ring touching the rough on the left and the right, as you can see there with the ball guide as shown. So rewind the video if you need those extra references. 1-to-1 plus 0.1 is the adjustment. So 7.8 in wind, I'm going to go 7.9 rings. Obviously with all of these par 3s, you will need to have a look at your wind angle, put some tweaks in if need be, and especially if you're sticking with a Kingmaker in higher wind, you might need to tweak this shot as well. But here is a very good starting point for you. In fact, it is a hole-in-one in this wind strength and wind angle. 1-to-1 plus 0.1. There's a lot of information on the notepad. I will explain it all as we go along though. On the drive first, we're going to use Kingmaker and the APOC, and we're going to set up with the APOC 5 and above at the top of plus 6, adding spin, and it's going to be 5.8 top spin only. And you'll see with the blue ring touching the rough on the left, the ball guide is just off centre to the right. Ring references with APOC 5 and 6 there with the blue ring. Other club levels will vary. APOC 4 you're going to set up at the top of plus 12. I adjust to the outer white ring here, otherwise the trees and all of that are going to be in the way, in the bushes. So I pull to the outer white ring, max plus 10. APOC 4 you might go into overpower, in which case add that one on. But you want a perfect ball here, no curl, just a plain ball shot with our top spin. And we hit perfect. Bounces very nicely in the centre of the fairway and rolls very nicely down the fairway as well. Drive distance here we are looking around 360 yards. Second shot, you want to put power 4 settings in on your app, and then we're going to use LP, that is landing position plus yards. Firstly, we're going to add spin when it's our turn. And you can see here I'm going with 2.5 backspin. And then we're setting up there, you can see with the ball guide, the tip of the ball guide is just before the front edge of the cup. There you go. I'll give you a nice zoom in there. There is a small gap between the tip of the ball guide and the edge of the cup. Then we are going to adjust for landing position of +4. We're going 76% on the slider, 10% elevation, and that is of course power 4 settings in the app. So make sure you've got all those details plugged into your app before it's your turn, especially the power 4 thing, because that would cause you to miss if you don't have that setting in. Of course, if you want to go aggressive with the luminary and try and get yourself into a rough bump, it's a good wind angle for it, but there is the free to play option. We get that one in for an albatross with a kingmaker. First, look at the wind value with a kingmaker, 12.3. Put that one into your wind app. Then we change to a quasar and we add spin. 4.3 top spin, 2 left spin. And then we find our position with the sniper, minimum distance line, and the ball guide through the hole. Make sure you got the grizzly in the bag, otherwise you'll get to Goliath here. So nice min line to push against, ball guide through the hole. Then we don't swap ball yet. You've got to adjust first, and you adjust for the kingmaker wind strength, mid +5, power 3. So that's why I say start the hole with a kingmaker, get that wind value plugged into your app from the get-go. So we're adjusting kingmaker wind strength, mid +5, power 3. Once we have adjusted, and only once we have adjusted, you then switch to a kingmaker. It won't move your target because we will have adjusted into the correct range. And then we take our shot. Perfect ball away. This will need a few wind strength and wind angle tweaks, but we have a hole-in-one for you to work with. Just sneaking it in on the right though, so be mindful. That is something you might want to tweak as well. Could maybe subtract 0.1 from the adjustment. A lot of steps to do there. Practice it, get comfortable. If you don't like that sequence, get your safe birdie, bounce up near the green with the Guardian would be my alternate suggestion. We're going to do a club swap. So we're going to start with the quarterback and a kingmaker. Before spin, ball guide pointing in the centre of the fairway. Then we switch to our apocalypse. And we're going to add spin, 5.8 top spin, 1 bar side spin to the left. Don't need to worry about the rings or the ball guide because we've set up with the QB no spin. So switch to APOC, add your spin. Then we are going to adjust max +10, power 3. So maximum distance, 10% elevation, just takes us into plus yards. We're going to go full overpower, slow needle. Slightly less slow with APOC 4, but you could always switch to a higher power ball if that gives you a slower needle and you like that kind of thing. It will help you hit perfect. Go for it. Perfect ball away. And we drive nicely down the fairway. Fairway slopes just a little bit there, so instead you might think you're going to go into the rough, but we're okay. It curves down. Drive distance 371. Now on the notepad, drive distance +10 is correct. 372 is correct because the second shot here was taken from my next attempt at the hole based on my first go. So have that in mind. The adjustment here is correct. No spin, ball guide just beyond the back of the cup. You'll see the very tip of it is just out of the cup there. And then we're going to adjust. So 372 for the drive distance is going to be 32% slider, 10% elevation. If you've got a shorter drive, say 370, you're playing 2% per yard, so you go 36% slider. Longer drive, less slider, obviously. Adjust over the bullseye here, so you replicate the same adjustment as me. So 32% slider, 10% elevation over the bullseye, no spin. Perfect bull away, brilliant chance for an eagle here. Perfect, we hit, and then the ball rolls very nicely in there on this par 4. I'm going to go with 4th of July ball because it's precision 3 and this is going to be a full needle. But you can use a globe or whatever, you don't have to have precision. We're going with 5.8 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the right, and then it's basically a point and shoot. I'm going to find my position, power 5 max stretched with a bullseye over the corner of that stone pillar base, whatever you want to call it, And I'm leaving it where it is because this is pretty much direct tailwind, and this is the middle wind angle. Obviously, if you've got slightly more left or right, you might want to adjust your position slightly. Full overpower, 0.8 ball curl to the right. Hit perfect. Thankfully, I had a precision ball on because otherwise that would have come out as a great ball. But God bless the 4th of July ball. We get a nice perfect away there with the precision stat, and we're by the green. Second shot for reference here is going to be a standard end bringer. This one, I think I played 40% on the slider, but as always, check the distance yourself. And don't worry about the whole 20 mile an hour crosswind thing. It's going to be absolutely fine. Play the usual no spin method. More information on this on the Academy tutorial playlist on the channel homepage. Learn the end bringer method in only 4 minutes. And we make our adjustment. No spin. End bringer school plus 20%. Which is, about 9.5, 9.6 rings for me. Make sure you estimate your distance as accurately as possible, though. Hit perfect, really easy to do with this ball. We're in for an albatross. If you are enjoying the free content here on the channel and want to help out and keep everything free, then please consider making a small donation. All donations are gratefully received, and help me out here on the channel, as all of the content here is produced for free in my own spare time. You can do that in one of 3 ways. You can hit the thanks button here on YouTube, you can make a PayPal donation via the link in the description down below, or you can also join us over on Patreon. Details at the end of the video. You've got to go for it, so we're going to strap on a Wiseacre, and we are going to go with a 1.8 backspin and 2 bars side spin to the left. And my reference here with the APOC 5 and 6 at power 5 max rest is the blue ring touching the rough. Different ring references if you've got APOC 7 and 8, of course. Max plus 10 power 5 settings. Then with APOC 5 and above, I'm going to push up. We're going to look at the plus yards now. We're at plus 1. I push up to plus 11, so it's a 10-yard push-up. With APOC 4 I would add on another 6 yards, so I'd go with a 17-yard push-up. With APOC 5, of course, you're going to get a lovely slow needle here. Ball and a half of curl to the left, hit perfect. Be a bit shaky with an APOC 4 because you're closer to max, but we bounce on the fairway very comfortably. Backspin grabs, and we're going to have a very easy end bringer school shot there. 20% elevation, no spin. We've got a very nasty wind angle here, but I'm going to show you how to deal with it right now. We're going with the Kingmaker if you have wind below 8. If not, please do consider switching to a wind full ball. 2 bars backspin, then we're going to find a position here at the power 3 min line with the ball guide over the hole, and you'll see it's just 1 click to the left side of centre, but hardly anything. It's a bit difficult to judge, but you could have a look at the ring placement as well. But you don't worry about it not being in the rough, basically, because where we're going to adjust this shot, the extra wind push from the headwind is going to make us do a rough bump. So it looks a bit scary, but it's been fine for me in testing. Min plus 15, power 4 settings, obviously subject to wind strength and wind angle tweaks. But like I say, I would go with a wind full ball if you have high wind with a Kingmaker, if you're able to, because I've not tested this with a wind above 8 miles per hour. So take a token or 2, put an extra tweak in if you have to use a Kingmaker, but we drop that one very nicely with min plus 15, power 4 settings for a hole-in-one on this tough wind angle. We're going to go with an NMT drive. So power 3 and APOC. Kingmaker ball for me, 5.8 top spin, 2 bars side spin to the right, and we're just going to leave the target where it is. No need to move to find our aim point. That's it right there. Then we're going to adjust maximum distance 10% elevation. So max plus 10 on this one. Make sure you've got the right club and ball preloaded before you enter the hole, so you get the right NMT position. Then with my level of APOC 5 and above, going to push up. Now APOC 5 and 6 have the same accuracy, so the push-up amount here for those club levels is going to be 2 rings. Slightly different if you've got APOC 7 and 8. Once you've done that push-up, I would, with the APOC 4, you're going to need to push up another 6 yards to compensate for the lack of distance on your driver. Max overpower, slow needle, and then we bounce over the rough very nicely, and the top spin takes us along, and we get a drive distance of 414 yards. Remember, we've got things like rings, Bible, spreadsheet if you need to do ring conversions, work out how many rings you need to push up instead of me. All depends on your club level and due to different accuracies. Second shot, I play with max plus 10 in the video, and unfortunately I missed this one, so my recommendation would be keep everything the same but adjust max plus 5 instead. There are other routes on this hole. You can play more aggressively, you could go power 5, set up nearer the green if you wanted to. The choice is yours. This is just one option to consider. Spin as shown in the video, same with the ball guide as well. Pause it after you've rewound it, have a look at my references there. Like I said, I go max plus 10 in the video. I would reduce that down to max plus 5 if I had this one over again. That would, I think, be a more suitable adjustment, but we'll see how we come in here. We bounced in that nice little dip in the fairway to try and get a consistent spot, just missing about 3/4 of a square there to the side. So max plus 5 would be my suggestion on the approach there. I've got a hole in one here, but it will need tweaking with other wind strength and wind angles, so taking a token or two if you can. 3 backspin, half a bar of left spin with the sniper, blue ring touching the rough, and try and find a kind of small sticky spot. It's not much of one, but you'll see it doesn't move around too much. Have a look at the ball guide as well. A little bit of a gap between the white ring and the bunker. There's another reference you could have. No need to faff with the wind app here. You're just going to go with 1-to-1 minus 0.3. So 12.3 wind, we're going to go 12 rings. Simple as that. And that should work very nicely with other wind strengths as well. So 1-to-1 minus 0.3. Once again, it is going to be 2 pulls. So make sure you reposition your camera accurately so that you're not offsetting your adjustment with any unintentional pull errors. Perfect ball away. Didn't think I would get this one in actually after a couple of looks, but the spin took very nicely, and we just sneaked this in on the left edge for a hole in one. Another good eagle chance here, no move target, so nice and simple. So load the hole with your APOC and your Kingmaker. 5.8 top spin, 1 bar side spin to the left. We're at obviously no move position. It comes up at max with your APOC 5 and above. Adjust max plus 10 on this one, and you'll see it takes us out of, or rather lower in plus yards. APOC 4 is going to struggle here. You will need to push up and then apply overpower, or you leave it where it is and you go with 1 or 2, I think 1.7 rings of overpower is usually the difference for APOC 4, or of course you could use a power 4 ball, up to you. But primarily this one obviously dialed in for APOC 5 and above. We're going to write down drive distance once we've hit a perfect with a max plus 10. 388 yards here, and like before, the maths on the notepad is correct because it was taken from a second attempt. So this is why it says 391, because this was following a different drive from the one in the video. You may sometimes get a shorter drive, so I would scribble out a few yardage references here, because sometimes you can get into the high 370s on your drive if you don't get a good rollout. So just bear that in mind. 1 bar of right spin, just to avoid any glitch areas. Just check left and right, because there is a point where there is a glitch. That's why I always play this one with right spin. For 391, it's 69% slider, 15 elevation. You're going to be pulling that one over the bullseye, especially in these wind strengths. Perfect ball away. Bounces nicely before the green and rolls in for a lovely eagle on the last of the par 4s. It's a slice. I'm going with APOC 6 here. Power 5 max rest. 4.8 top spin and 2 right spin. Bear in mind though, results could be quite drastic here with these wind strengths. But aim as shown, add your spin, the ball guide just pointing to the right hand side of that dark grass in the sand. Full overpower, full right curl, full slice, shout YOLO if that is your thing. Bounces nicely on the fairway. Bear in mind though, I would really take a token or two if you want to investigate this. But if it goes wrong, I still think you're going to reach the green in 2. I haven't tested it though, so maybe take a token. Drive distance around 550 to 570. The second shot is going to vary greatly on this one, But I think there's a chance if you want to go for it, go for it. If not, then, you know, lay up or do something similar that we did in qualifying round with the Cataclysm or the Big Dog. You could also play a layup on the right side, but you've got a lot of elevation to deal with. The rough bump is a bit challenging as well with that wind angle. Or you could blast it down the right. There's so much you could do. But I'm finding min line with the Thorn, pushing up a couple of rings in case my wind angle takes me along the min line. And I'm applying backspin to have the ball guide just to the front of the cup. And I play rings from min plus 30 in the video, 1% slider per ring. This is unfortunately under adjusted. I would recommend you go plus 35. But the issue with dialing this one in is the slice is not going to get you to the same point every time. They never do, so you might need to improvise slightly. The speed was very good. Bit more on the adjustment would have been in. We're going with 4.2 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the right. There is an aggressive option here. You can go over the rough on the right hand side with a power 5 ball if you want to. I'm just going to show a little bit more of a free to play layup option, because not everybody wants to be doing the aggressive stuff. So just giving you a balanced selection of shots here. Red ring touching the rough with APOC 5 and 6 at plus 4. That will be at plus 10 with the APOC 4. Either look at the second bounce if you've got different club levels, or work out your different ring placements as well. Bear in mind, certain clubs have different accuracies. Half wall curl to the right after we've done max plus 10. And this has been a very consistent drive for me. Bouncing nicely before the rough. Top spin takes us along the fairway without threatening the far side rough. Drive distance, 356 yards. Second shot, TC on the notepad. For those that don't know what that means, it is true club distance. So we're going to look at plus yards and work out our slider from there. Blue ring touching the bunker. And then I'm adding spin as needed. It's going to be about 2.5, 3 backspin and a little bit of side spin. Get the ball guide pointing. Let's see if I give you a zoom in here. Just finding a consistent spot there. So blue ring touching the bunker. Then we're going to add our spin. Ball guide short of the hole. There you go. About 3 green squares short, and it looks plumb in line with the pin to me. True club distance, 0 elevation, power 2 settings. So plus 12 would be at max. We're doing 2.5% slider per yard. So this one is going to be 72% slider. 72% slider, 0 elevation. Hit perfect, and we'll see how this one comes in. Might take a token or two to get a feel for this one. And we're dropping it very nicely for an eagle. Tough to get it from distance. Like I said, there's the aggressive route as well over on the right hand side if you're feeling brave. Another tricky headwind angle on the final par 3. Once again, try and keep the wind below 8. I've not tested this in high winds, so there is a disclaimer. 2.2 backspin. Going with the quarterback, power 3 minimum distance line. And we're going to set up with the ball guide through the hole. Then the adjustment is min plus 10 power 3 settings, just to remind you, power 3 settings, but a small 1201 pull angle is what I was finding that I needed here. Otherwise I was just missing to the side. So a small 1201, obviously these are all subjective. Take a token or two if you can to test this one out. Obviously they will be subject to wind angle tweaks as well. So when you're following any online content, always try and practice it if you can do, just to try and increase your drop rate and also to tweak as you may need to your personal style of play. We're just sneaking it in on the left hand side. If you're finding you're missing one side or the other consistently, it's probably your pull angle that needs to change, or you put a wind angle tweak in. But there's a hole in one to start your work from there. Once again, going to go no move target with the APOC and a Kingmaker. I'm going with 6 top spin or 5.8 if that's all you have, and then we're going 2 bars side spin to the left. Going to adjust max plus 10 on this one, so no move target apart from when you adjust your rings, of course. Max plus 10 power 3. For my club level here, APOC 8, it's going to be 7.7 rings. Then I'm going to do a bit of a pushing up thing here because we want to gain a bit more distance. So with APOC 8, I push up 2 rings It's going to be about 1.8 rings with APOC 7, 1.6 rings with APOC 5 and 6. APOC 4 you need to push up another 6 yards in addition to that. Max overpower and with the curl as shown, you're going to get a little bit slower needle with APOC 5 plus, less so with APOC 4. Then we get a drive distance of 432. Now, it's not a typo on the notepad. The adjustment and the shot I'm showing you here is from a different length drive. We're going to use drive distance, that is DD, on the notepad. With the Grizzly, I'm going with 3 bars backspin, and then finding my position here, give you a zoom in there, ball guide around 1.5 green squares short of the pin, in line with the pin, of course. We're going to go for a 442 yard drive. So this was from a different drive to what was shown in the video. I would recommend you go 60% slider, 10% elevation. That is Grizzly 9 numbers, regardless if you've got Grizzly 7 or 8. That is not the slider value I went with in the video, and you'll see why, because I missed it. So I'm giving you a tweak based on my knowledge and experience of the game and dialing in shots. The slider percentage on the notepad would be the correction or the adjustment that I would make based on the miss here. Just burning the edge there on the right hand side, but a very good chance with that wind angle. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck. See you soon. Bye for now.